How you doing? It's Sean from Retaliation Resale, and today got a lot to cover. It's early second week of 2025, and going to cover a 2-week period from December 21st all the way through the 3rd of January. And we sold quite a few things. I'm going to talk about what I sold, some about what I've listed, and also want to talk about philosophy, because I've only been selling for this April to be 2 years on eBay. I've spent the last 6 years or so selling on Amazon FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. I ship the items into Amazon. They keep them in their warehouse and they ship them out from there. But Amazon FBA is been mostly books, and then in the last year or so I've extended it out to media, CDs, DVDs. I'm in the kitchen. The cats are like running around. If you hear weird noises, that's what it is. We have 3 cats now. The house is theirs. But anyway, and I've really been thinking a lot about philosophy, and I've been listening to a lot of other eBay sellers, not just pick videos, but people that are successful and what they're doing to stay successful and to expand their business even more. And it's a lot of, work harder, or work smarter, not harder kind of things. But I'll get into that a little later. But first off, if you could please like and subscribe. I'd like to get up to 100 subscribers by the end of the month. That was my goal for the end of last year. Didn't reach it, but we can still try. So, and for those of you who don't know, I'm Sean from Retaliation Resale. I primarily sell books, but I do a lot of clean outs of houses, a lot of auctions that have closed down from houses, and I get a lot of books, and with the books sometimes I get tools and some other things. So primarily I'm selling books, but occasionally I do get some other things, and I sell those as well, and I'll talk about this. So the first thing you should see is it's actually a game. It's from the Bombay company, which I remember used to be around. I don't think they're around anymore, but this is called Simple 9. It's a domino game. It sort of looks like a bit like an abacus, but I sold that for $20 plus shipping, and I was a little surprised because I've seen a few of them have sold on eBay, but I hadn't gotten a lot of interest in this, so I was sort of surprised. It just sold out of the blue, which happens. The price was $20 plus shipping. I think it was a fair price. It sold, and I was happy. The next thing was an item that I have shown on this video before, and I mentioned David Wolf, who helped me out with this item, and he's somebody that answered a question that I had on one of the Facebook blogs, and it's Principles of Mathematics, the 2nd edition. You may remember it had some foxing on it. The unfoxed copies sold around the $80 to $90 mark. I put this one for $57.50 plus shipping, and it sold. So I was happy. Might have been able to get a little more, but I priced it lower because of the foxing, and I didn't want to have any issues with it. So I priced it to what I thought was fair. Someone could get a good deal on it. They're going to use it for school, I would assume. And it moved. Excuse me. The other thing sold, also I have mentioned this previously, was a 5-book lot by John Grisham. And it's a series that he wrote for young adults. I think it's on Scholastic, if I remember correctly. But anyway, 5 books. I sold it for $10 plus shipping, and it sold. And I was happy about that. The next book, 4th book that sold, The Brave Little Toaster. This was the 1st edition. This book sold for $115. It was a kid's book, and I showed that I opened it up, and on the inside cover and on the back cover was a yellow sort of jagged line. I thought it was something to do with a reaction to the paper. All the other copies that were listed on eBay had the same discoloration. So I listed it on eBay because if I had listed it on Amazon, FBA, I could have gotten more money. I saw the listings there were about 180, give or take. But I know somebody would have seen that yellow mark and thought, this is defective, there's something wrong with my copy, and sent it back. And when things get sent back, a lot of times with Amazon, you can have problems, it can be damaged. So I figured, you know what? I'll ask for a little less money. I made a video, I showed the discoloration, and I explained all the other copies that I'd seen on eBay had the same coloration. No problems. It was, well, I won't give out this person's email address, but it was kind of interesting. But I got a great review, A+++, and I was really happy. I was happy that they were happy. Satisfied customer. That's great. The next item that sold. This was an autographed copy of The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury, but not autographed, but inscribed. It was to a person that said, hey, and it was somebody that he knew. It was a friend of his. You know, finally signed first edition so many years after it came back. And I think it was dated 1985, I believe. And I had seen another copy, excuse me, I'd seen another copy that had sold for, I think, around $280. And I priced this one at $225 because there are some other copies of The Martian Chronicles. This one, I believe, was a book club edition. The dust jacket was kind of beat up. Besides the inscription, there was some yellowing. A lot of times people will put an old newsprint cutting in the book, and over time that will leave an imprint on the page, and it'll be like dark yellow. It stains the paper. I don't know, something about the acids in the paper or the chemicals or whatever. But you can tell that's what it is. And this book had that. So I thought, well, okay, only one of the higher end copies have sold. That was in a little better condition than mine. I'll do $225. I probably should have priced it higher because I swear to God I listed this and then 15 minutes later it's sold. So when it sells that quick, generally you might have underpriced it, but hey, live and learn, and that's the way it goes. I'm glad, you know, somebody would enjoy it. There was another copy I saw for, I think, like $1,200 or something, and it's funny because that person, I was looking at it, and that person sent me an email. Hey, you know, I'll give you like whatever, like 10% off, or give it to me for like $1,000. And I'm like, if you're discounting something by a couple $100, you've probably got it priced a little too much. And it was a copy that had probably been there for a while, and when they saw the attention, they're like, hey, maybe I can get rid of this. And sorry, the cats are cruising around underneath. Got to make sure I don't step on them by accident. Yeah, generally you don't want to overprice too much. I like to price generally in the ballpark, leave a little room to go down. If you have to discount by a really large amount, you've overpriced. You know, there's an old saying, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And I believe that. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about book philosophy because I've been thinking a lot about how I do books, because how I list books on Amazon is different from how I list on eBay. And I'll give you an example in a little bit once I go over what's sold, because people like to see the pictures, and then, you know, you can either turn off or stick around and listen to what I have to say. The sixth item I sold was a Charles Bukowski book lot. $15 factotum and women, $15 plus shipping. Really nice copies on Black Sparrow Press, which sold, I think, in the last 10 years, but really nice end papers. Beautiful printing. They do a great job. Very beautiful books. The seventh book I sold was the Harvard Design School book, and this one I had listed for $40. Somebody asked me if I'd take $30, and I did. Shipped it out and was quite happy. And then the first of two Bibles that I sold a NIV Bible, New International Version Bible, $20. This was, I want to say, like new. It didn't have the, there's a presentation page where, you know, if you give it a gift, you can write, you know, who it's to, who it's from, and the date, so somebody can use it as like a keepsake. But that one sold for $20. I also sold a Niv Study Bible for $12. This was a used one. $12 is a good price. And then the last item that I sold was a toy store puzzle. It's a puzzle of a toy store. Sold it for $13. Excuse me. And originally I had asked for $15. And I got an offer for $8. And I made a counter offer of $10. Never heard back from that person. And then I was listening to a YouTube video from Tech and Sports, who sells mostly men's clothing, but I learn a lot about philosophy and how to set things up, how to scale up, and just general overall business. And one thing that he was saying is he gets a lot of old shirts, a lot of vintage shirts. And he was saying he has some that they sell for $300-400. Yeah, $300-400 for an old t-shirt. I've looked, it's true. He shows the prices that have sold, but he has a brick and mortar store, and he said, hey, he's got this t-shirt for $300. If somebody came in with cash, a sincere offer, really wanted it, and offered him $200, he said he would think about it, and he would probably take it. And that got me thinking about this toy store puzzle, that was $15, and somebody offered me $8. That's the first puzzle that I've ever sold. I've sold a few games, but that's the first puzzle. And there wasn't a lot of interest in that item. And generally, I like to make $10 minimum. But, and I was sort of thinking about how I do books, I could go down as low as $5. Good old Lincoln $5 bill. That's the lowest I really want to make for my effort for, you know, listing it on eBay, taking care to ship it, going down to the post office, even though the post office is only like 8 blocks away. And see, my philosophy is there's a group of people, and what they do is they find an item that's slightly underpriced, they offer a third, and then they'll sell it for 2/3 or just over, and they'll make a lot of money. So if something would normally sell for 100 and you're offering it for 90, they'll offer it to you for 30, and then they'll turn around and try and sell it for 60. So they're doubling their money. And I really sort of, my mindset was, okay, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to make some money, but really they're lowballing people. They're trying to take advantage. And I was thinking, I'm not going to put up with that. I'm not going to stand for that. But I was thinking, you know what? This puzzle, they offered me $8. I still would have made $5. I turned it down, and I thought, you know what? That's the only offer I got. I listed this like 6 months ago. Like 2 people have looked at it. I probably should have taken it. And then the next day, somebody offered me 12, and I took it. I was like, whoa. So you kind of have to think of what it is you're doing and what you're trying to do. Are you trying to maximize your profits no matter what? Are you just trying to make money and flip it and then buy something else? Because one thing that Tech said is with that t-shirt for $200, he buys used t-shirts for like $2 or $3. He could go out and buy another 100 t-shirts and then make even more money. So maybe I could have held on to the puzzle, and maybe I would have sold it in a year, and maybe I would have gotten the $15. But with the money that I got, I can turn around and I could use that to grow the business even more. Because what makes my situation different from everybody else's, or a lot of other people's, is all the stuff that you see I've gotten for free. Like I said, I do a lot of estate auction closeouts. I work with a lot of thrift stores, a lot of bookstores. I do a lot of stuff on the internet. So I get a lot of books for free. And, you know, I was listing books for what I thought was fair. I think, okay, I've got 4 used books. I'll list them for $17.50 plus shipping. And I was thinking, okay, that's like $4 a book. That's a good deal. Well, 4 times 4 is 16. I realize it's a little less than $17.50, so that's like $4.25 a book. But for a lot of people, they're used to garage sale prices or maybe library sale prices, and $4 for $4.25 a book really isn't that great. Plus, when you add shipping, which is $5 or $6, now you're in the $23, $24 mark. That's now $6 a book, and for a lot of those books, they may even be able to get them new for like 10, or like new for 9 or 10. So that's not really a deal. It's a deal for me. It's fair for me, but thinking about the customer, that's probably not so good. So what I've decided to do for my books is, if it's under $20, I'm now going to pay for shipping. I will include the shipping. Over $20, I will charge shipping. And what I've decided to do is, if it's mass market books or stuff that's pretty easy to find, I want to price it accordingly. So for a lot of stuff, if I sell it for $15, let's say shipping is $6, that drops it down to now $9. eBay takes out a couple of bucks. So I'm going to make $6, $7, maybe up to $8, kind of depending on what it is for some of these book lots. But that's okay. These are book lots of stuff I'm listing is mass market. It's stuff that you can find fairly easy, or fairly easily. Sorry, gotta get the parallel construction there. So this is sort of how I'm thinking before. It's like, oh, what are other people selling it for? And I was trying to figure it out, and I think that's a fair price. If books are selling more for $20, people understand that it's a more valuable book. They're paid for shipping. But if it's something that's mass-produced, a mass-produced author, like a Stephen King set, a James Patterson set, something like that, then I can get a little lower, and the idea is just to move it out, because I'm getting these books for free. I don't want to give them away, but I want to be fair. And the idea is to move them, give them to people for a good price so they can enjoy them. So let's go over, I'm going to talk about, that's sort of my philosophy that's changed. I've since gone back after I saw that message from Tech, the video that he did. And actually, I emailed him because he's got a group that I'm about to join. And they do clothing, they do books, there's car parts, there's groups in England and stuff, and it's very educational. And the Golden State Picker down in San Jose, same way. He does mostly books, but he'll do a few other things. He's really into golf, so he talks about golf clubs. But he talks about how he sort of approaches and the different things that he sells and where he goes, and kind of how he kind of determines a lot of the stuff that he does. So that part is really important, because a lot of people are talking about, oh, I've listed stuff on eBay and I'm not getting any inquiries. I don't know what's going on. And I never know with eBay too. I'll list stuff, and that day nobody will look at it. The next day nobody's looked at it. The third day nobody's looked at it. The fourth day there might be one person. And then the fifth day, all of a sudden, I'm getting like an offer or it's sold. So some of it might be, how often do you list? Do you list every day? What category is it in? How many items have you sold? How long have you been selling for? I really don't know how a lot of that works. And it doesn't matter for me. I list things that have sold, that I see that other people have sold. I try to list it for a fair price, and I go from there. And I think I'm coming up on 100 items sold over the last 2 years. I'm selling more. I'm getting better things to sell. I don't want to sell something just to sell something. I want to sell something that I think somebody will buy. So I'm going to cover a couple of things that I've listed, and then I'm going to go over some stuff that I'm going to list. And a few of these things that I'm going to list, it's from a huge lot that I've got. I've already listed and sold some, and you'll see that in the next video. But a couple of interesting things. For those of you who follow Bathroom Books, a series that I haven't done for a while, but there's 7 books that I find interesting. And I do call them bathroom books because I shoot the video in the bathroom because it's one of the only places that's not crowded and that I can, have some room to shoot. But the guy had a lot of Air Force books about airplanes, World War II. And he had this model. It's still in the cellophane. It's got the Longs price tag, $4.99. Don't know if you remember Longs. CVS, I think, bought it. Hasn't been in business for at least 10 years, maybe. So, listed that for 10 bucks. We'll see what happens. This is, we've got the Tetris light. This is a light. You stack it like Tetris. The blue light on the bottom lights up. I don't know if I showed this before. If I have, if I repeated myself, I apologize. But you stack the pieces and you can change the design. And it's a nice, nifty little light. And I get a lot of interest. We'll see if it sells. The other thing is, and I think I'll include a picture because I filled up the truck that we have. And somebody that used to own a thrift store sold it, but he had a bunch of film books that he got from somebody. I don't know if he got it from storage unit or whatever, but he said 7 boxes, so I took the truck, but it was 7 like medium boxes. So I ended up filling the complete back of the truck, the cab of the truck, or the trunk of the truck and the cab filled with books. But get a lot of these playbooks. This is the Dramatist Play Service, and this is Samuel French. These are plays, Sorrows and Sons. This is Old Wine in a New Bottle. And these are simply plays. It's got the dialogue. Very popular. I've listed and already sold some of these. Sold them in lots of 20. And I've got some more of these that I'm going to sell. The other item from the same lot of film stuff. And I've got to figure out kind of how I'm going to handle this. Because these are scripts. And you could sell scripts on eBay. But these are photocopies of scripts. And this one has, I think the price tag on it, yeah, $20. This is the original Lethal Weapon script. Not the original, it's a copy. We'll get to this in a second. So I've got probably like 30 of these. I've seen like official newer ones with the, official page of the movie signed by the cast or signatures that were recreated, so photocopies. And those will sell for $20, $40, $60, $80. But these are old photocopies. And I've purchased these. Actually, when I lived on the streets of New York, this guy I know, we were going to try to write a Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode. And what we do is you buy a script, and then you basically figure out your story, and you copy the script in how they handle dialogue and description. But anyway, needless to say, we didn't end up writing it. But you could buy these on the streets. I might sell them. I might sell them as script scratch paper. So you could use the back as scratch paper because, I was an English major. I like to write. I don't want to... I've got a moral issue with depriving somebody of, their copyright money. But then again, these exist. I'm sure the script writers were paid well. So I think if I sell them, I might sell like 4 or 5 for $20. Sell them as used movie script, scratch paper, and go that route, and then maybe kind of get around any legal issues. I've seen copies that have sold, but I have to do a little more research. I got a big pile of them, so we'll see. But this book is Our Bodies, Our Cells, Women Unite, a book by and for women. This is a book from the 70s, I think 1973. This is the 16th edition. Uh, this book is 50 years old, covers a lot of things. It covers, feminism, covers lesbianism. There's a lot of uh, space devoted to pregnancy. There's pictures of babies being born, that kind of graphic. You see, babies with the umbilical cord and all that. So not for the faint of heart, definitely 18 and over. This book sells roughly about $15. There's quite a few copies sell, so I'm going to list this. I've got a feeling it'll probably sell within a week or so. So we've got that. Then we've got these books. It's the How Done It series, and it's malicious intent. We've got a writer's guide to murderers, robbers, rapists, and other criminals, how they think. A writer's guide to poison. There's one modus operandi, how criminals work. Police procedural, a writer's guide to police and how they work. I've got 7 books in the series, and I think there's 12 to 15. Some of these were worth about $7 on Amazon. There's like 2 that were worth $7, and the rest really weren't too much. So this is another thing where I saw other used copies anywhere from $5 to $6. So there's 7 books. I think what I might do is I might list them for maybe $20 plus shipping, $25 plus shipping, somewhere around there. There's 7, so $4 each would be $28, I think. That's a little too much, so we'll keep it around $20 and plus shipping, and hopefully turn that over really quick. I hadn't seen these before, but they exist. People buy them, but there's a lot of used copies floating around, so this is a thing where I'll bundle it, I'll set a good price, and we'll sell it. So, all right, we're approaching the 28-minute mark. Covered what's sold, a few things that I've listed. There's even more that I've listed, but some of it is already sold since the last video, and I'm getting ready to sell, or not sell, but list. I've got a lot of playwright books, playwright, and I've got like 8 books, so I'll do a bundle by that playwright. A lot of the stuff is from England. It's older stuff from the 70s and 80s, but I think if I bust it out at a fair price, like $15 or so, that it will move, and that's what I'm trying to do. So got a lot of these Samuel French and dramatist book. I think I probably have at least 30 each of these that I have to list, but we'll do that. We'll get that out today, but I wanted to get this video out, and I want you to think sort of about what it is you're trying to do, because I really want to join this Tech and Sports group, the book group, because I'm wondering, I know somebody like, I forget her name, but she does Back from Burnout in Australia. She sells used books on eBay, and I'm just wondering what her markup is. But, a lot of people do Amazon MF, merchant fulfilled. And Amazon gives you $4 for postage, and a lot of books sell for $3.99, $4.99. So I think for a lot of those people, they're still making like $2 or $3 a book. And if you get, $3 a book and you sell 10, that's $30 for the day. So, you kind of have it. It depends on what kind of seller you are and what kind of seller you want to be. Like I said, my stuff is free, so I basically want to turn my stuff around really quick. I've got it. It's here. I want to get rid of it. I want to get it out of the house, and I want to get money coming in. I don't need to buy new product because I always have product coming in. I have, 2 thrift stores that I work with. I have a bookstore that I work with. I have 3 estate sale companies that I work with. I've now hooked up with a guy that buys storage auctions. He just offered me 3,000 CDs if I want them, but he's selling them for $1 a pop, but they're worth more. But You know, I have to decide if that's something that I want to do. I've got real estate agents that sell houses, have clean outs. One of them, she donated books to me probably about 4 months ago, left me a note the other day. She has a house with a bunch of books, picked those up on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, and then just left me a note that she's got another house, same thing. So, and she's spreading the word, and everybody else is letting people know that I take books. I don't buy books, but I'll take them all. You get them ready, box them up, I'll show up, and I'll keep them out of the landfill, which is what people want. So there's different ways. I won't say there's many ways to skin a cat, because I have 3 cats, and I've got one looking at me right now, and she's got this abject look of horror on her face. No, I'm not talking about you, sweetie. Got my Garfield shirt on too. Or not Garfield, but there's cats on the shirt. There's cats on all of my shirts. But hey, I've been rambling. I got a cup of coffee down here. I really need to drink. So, in fact, I'm going to do that now. Oh, so good. I love coffee. But that's it. So I want you to please like the video. If you got something out of it, subscribe. Please leave a comment. Tell me what kind of stuff you would like me to talk about. But it's 2025. It's always good to reevaluate the business. I went back with this new philosophy that I had with the books. And one of the book lots I changed yesterday, and 15 minutes afterwards, it sold. I dropped it from $17.50 down to $15, and boom. I'm like, oh, okay, that was it. That was, okay, it was all about the price. So, I will see you next video. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you. Be safe.